I already cut all of this. Hey, welcome back to our Stupid Reaction. I'm Corbin.
I'm Rick.
You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter for more juicy content. Thank you to Radio Sports.
Juicy. It's so juicy.
Patreon.
It's so juicy.
Twitter account. Subscribe. And hit that like
Subscribe. Good everything.
Welcome back. And today will be our last movie review of 2024. Even though it is
2025. But time is a construct, so
exactly.
We're still in both eras.
No, Rick watched this last year. We wanted to have it for the dummies.
Yes.
And so this, even though you're going to see this and the Marathi movie that we just did a review of, posted in 2025. Those are counted as 2024.
Yes.
I know it's a loophole. Sorry.
Yeah, we understand.
So we technically haven't watched one film in 2025.
Not yet, but we're still going to have 100, which we did last year, by the way.
We did.
But man, I think it was 22. We watched like 90 films and 6 series.
No, yeah, that counts
and
over
13 interviews.
Yeah, that counts over 100.
That was crazy.
Anyways, today
that was the year we got the most cocaine from Karan Johar.
Totally.
Yeah.
Today we are doing a review of the highly acclaimed and talked about film All We Imagine as Light, directed and written by
Payal Kapadia.
And starring
Kani Khosruti, Divya Prabha, and Chaya Kadam, and a supporting role by Ridu Harun.
And a couple other people. Obviously, this almost won Cannes. It was the
it did win. It did win.
It almost won the top prize.
The big top prize.
It was the second place at Cannes.
Yeah.
Highly talked about, as should have been India's Oscar submission. We'll talk about all that.
It was nominated. It was not only nominated for Best International Film at the Globes, but Payal Kapadia was nominated for Best Director at the Golden Globes. She was there last night. It was great to see her in the crowd.
Yeah, obviously it was like a Indian/French/ European.
Yeah, it was predominantly a French India.
But obviously the entire production was Indian.
Yep.
But anyways, so this will be. How do we want to do this?
Let's do a non-spoiler at the front and give them warnings and do a spoil for everyone who's seen it at the back, because there's probably some people who haven't yet.
Disney Hotstar in India if you want to watch it. In America,
it's still in theaters in some places.
It still is in theaters, and I'm not totally sure how you can get to it because we don't have Hotstar here. I had to get it via different ways.
I'm not going to ask.
No, it's just I had to watch it. Anyways, but so non-spoilers at the start, and then we'll get into some spoils. Okay, Rick, your initial thoughts of All We Imagine is Light, and you've had some time to stoop on it.
I have. I've had time to stoop on it. I've had time to read about it. And Johnny and I saw it together at our old stomping grounds.
Continue, please.
Wow. At our old stomping grounds, the Lamley in Encino. That's where we saw Gully Boy. That was our first Indian
we haven't seen
film in theaters.
Many Indian movies there since.
No.
Maybe like a handful.
But Lamley is a glorious place to see films. But anyway, the question is whether or not this should have been India's submission for international film. And it's a toss-up for me in regard to that, because I can understand why they chose Lapata Ladies. My leaning would be, why not choose All We Imagine as Light? I give this a gold with a blue diamond the same way I gave a gold with a blue diamond to Lapata Ladies.
I don't think you did the blue diamond thing back then.
I didn't do the blue diamond, but in my head, it's still that. It's still that. And most golds are going to be elevative anyway, because a gold I consider to be excellent. No, let me see. It's they're all E's. Enjoyable, excellent, exceptional. It's exceptional versus extraordinary. I didn't find it extraordinary. And I think one of the reasons so many people who are not familiar with Indian cinema consider it extraordinary is for that reason. They're not familiar with Indian cinema, and they don't realize how much extraordinary work is coming out of India. So that's why, for me, I considered it to be excellent, not in the extraordinary realm. And I do think if you were choosing between Lapita Ladies and All We Imagine Is Light, it's been very clear that the international community would prefer this, and we can get into why, because I agree. I think this is of the two, there's a lot of elements about this that I would have preferred to have seen been the nominee.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the film. I was expecting to before watching it, I was expecting to after viewing it, being like, this was clearly
Blown away, right?
And I wasn't. I
Correct.
It's a fantastic film.
It's a very good film, but it didn't. We walked out, and
I'm actually kind of glad because I'm not like extremely upset.
Correct.
The only reason I'm more upset is because the same reason RRR should have been sent was because of the momentum.
The momentum
was behind this film.
And the likelihood, and it's deserving.
And RR. It was the momentum was behind RRR.
Correct.
I get it's not an Oscar-style film, but the momentum was behind it. So go with the one that has the momentum. It almost won Cannes. Goddamn. Like, your choice.
It almost won Cannes.
Made for
It's
you.
nominated for a Globe. How often do you see an Indian director get nominated for a Globe? And I know of all the award ceremonies, the Globes are like the entry point, but you can't undermine them for their importance.
But regardless, so I would have sent this still. I still wasn't like, after viewing it, I was like, oh, that's clearly the front runner. Like,
Correct.
If it didn't almost win Cannes, I would be like, this could have been in the conversation for sure. And I think it's a very, 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 very good film in all aspects of it.
Correct.
Directing, cinematography,
It just
acting.
didn't blow us away.
There was nothing in it that was like, I've never seen that before. Honestly, I didn't the Indian whoever submits whatever idiot submit the Oscar submission.
The committee.
Didn't they say something like it didn't feel like an Indian film? Mm-hmm. I actually kind of agree in the aspect of how it's shot. It's actually shot like a French film. And so I'm not saying that's why I wouldn't have sent it. I'm saying in that comment, that whoever made that comment, I actually agree. It's shot like a French film.
Agreed.
It's not shot like an Indian film.
No.
So maybe that was one of the reasons they were like, I still don't fully agree because I'm like, the
No.
momentum, always go with the momentum.
And I also think one of the reasons, without giving any spoilers away, because one of the comments was, if you differentiate between the way Indians in India are represented in the film, that's bigger. I don't think the technical aspects for the committee were nearly as important as the fact that if they look at both films, they say, All We Imagine Is Light, that's not something we want propagated as a message about who we are. Lapita Ladies is.
And it had a little boob in it, so can't have that.
No, it had that. It had a girl deciding who she wanted to be with, regardless of what her parents thought, and having given away spoilers.
Yeah, you are.
Sorry.
Don't do it.
So we'll get into that.
Well, just talk about the movie now. Obviously, that's our opinion on the Oscars. It should have been sent.
It should have been sent.
It definitely should have been that. But I also,
it's not
like a blow you away style over everything else.
No, somebody who says I think Lapita Lady should have been sent because I like that film better. I don't have a bone to pick with.
No,
that.
I don't really.
I really don't.
Regardless,
This leans a little.
Yeah. So let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Fantastic job by Palal. Pyle.
Yeah, Pyle Kapadia.
And her cinematographer.
Yeah.
I thought they did a fantastic job. It felt very French.
It did. And the production design.
From the start of it. In like the flares, the way the light was accentuated, I was like, this just feels French.
Yeah.
Feels very, very French.
Which is a compliment.
Yes. No, they make great films in France. But she's deserving of all of her accolades because she made an absolutely fantastic film. She made a film that she wanted to make.
Correct.
And it was full on. She was like, I'm not making any, what is the word? Not
concessions.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not making any concessions. I'm just going to make the film I want to make.
Yeah, making the film I want.
And I think she did
which the French will do.
It did an absolutely fantastic job. Is she French?
No.
She's Indian, right?
She's Indian. I mean, as far as getting somebody to collaborate with you and say, do whatever the heck you want to do, the French are going to go with that.
Yeah. She did such a good job in creating such a kind of this film's almost a vibe, in a different kind of way of a vibe. Not like it almost had a chill aspect.
It definitely has a mood.
Yeah.
Throughout. It has a tone and a mood
Yeah.
that I suspect was intentional throughout. Mm-hmm. In every way.
And I enjoyed that.
I did too.
I enjoyed that part of it.
I did too.
The acting, oh man. We've already known. What's her?
Connie, Connie Kaskruti.
We've seen her. Oh my God, we've seen her a few.
She plays Prabha.
We've seen her a few times. I think most famously for us in Briani,
Which was brilliant.
She did such a great job.
Brilliant in that, and she's just as good in this.
Just as good in this. And say that.
And Divya Prabha.
And
Chaya Kadam. All three ladies.
Chaya Kadam. Did you recognize who she was immediately?
No.
She was in Lapata Ladies.
Shut the front door.
She's the stall lady.
Wow. What a year.
She's the stall lady and who did a fantastic job in Lapata Ladies, by the way. I love that character.
Hold the phone.
That's her.
Where's my... Okay. Hold on one second. Oh, that's okay. Hold on. That's actress.
You looking for supporting?
Damn.
Don't worry. Somebody put it in.
Wow.
Yeah. And
I didn't put two and two together. That's amazing. That's great.
Here's another thing, and I don't think you're going to.
Did you know that watching it?
I got it about 15 minutes in.
Okay.
Because I was like, who is that?
Okay.
And then I was like,
that's what I did.
That's not what's her face from Lapata.
I simply went, who is that? I know her, and then just let it be. And I got so engrossed with the story, I forgot about it.
She was also in Andahan. But she's also in this Marathi movie that we've wanted to watch for a long time, and she's the lead in it.
Great.
And we saw this trailer. Well, it's called Nude. Do you
Oh,
remember that?
yeah, I do remember that.
She's the lead.
Awesome. Awesome. That's amazing. That's a testament to her capacity as an actor because...
I can almost guarantee she's a theater person. She gives off that vibe.
They were all utterly fascinatingly believable for the totality of the time.
I feel like India as a whole, Malayali specifically, this is more of a Malayali film. I think predominantly the crew and cast are Malayali.
Yeah,
I think.
And the predominant language was Malayali.
They're very good at making people seem extremely regular. Like, I know this person. I've seen them before. Like, they're so good at that. I was just like, oh, I've seen that person on the corner of the street before. I swear to you, I've seen them in the tea stall.
You know what else? You know what else that all India is really good at? I mean, the first person we knew about doing it on a consistent basis was Satyajit Ray.
Yeah.
Is getting, not that these people are inexperienced, I'm saying another thing they're good at is getting people who've never acted before.
Yeah.
To act and do a good job.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just it's a gift.
Yeah.
So
there was a lot of elements in this film that it's honestly, even though it had a lot to say, I feel it was kind of subtle in how it was saying it. In ways that, like, certain messaging, you could go extremely in your face.
Sure.
I feel like they didn't do that, even though it does have clear messaging. I'm not saying it doesn't, but I feel like it was more subtle than even some films that I've seen.
And that's one of the great things about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I prefer, and that's something that's been a big problem I've seen in the last two films from Hollywood. Is the messaging the messaging of Baby Girl and the messaging of Emilia Perez. Comparatively to something like this, the messaging in those two films.
Which one's the squirting one?
Baby Girl.
Oh, okay.
It's so heavy-handed, the messaging, and being talked down to. And this trend has been going on for a while. I mean, that's one of the problems I had with Don't Look Up. It wasn't. I didn't have a problem with the message. I had the problem with the way it was presented. It was heavy-handed.
Yeah.
And this is so lovely in that it just simply presents and allows you to receive and take it however you want to take it.
I love receiving.
And there's some people who might not like the message, and they're entitled to not like that. But I agree with you. The vibe of the film and the messaging of the film, which is the profundity of smallness, is much, much better, and subtlety. Yeah. But I did have a problem with one of the ways in which she chose to convey a really important message. And Johnny and I both did. We have to talk about that in spoilers. But there's not really anything to critique in terms. The only reason it's not a platinum for me, which puts it into the extraordinary realm, is because it simply didn't live up to my expectations. I expected this to be something I walk out of and just go, they're all nuts. How could it have not been All We Imagine Is Light? There's not even a close second. And I tell you what,
it's hard to live up to those expectations.
and Lapata Ladies isn't the only film.
I think you gave Lapata platinum.
No, I gave it a gold.
Gold.
Yeah. And Lapata Ladies is not the only film, and this one, that should have been part of the conversation this year.
There's quite a few.
So this wasn't head and shoulders. No. Again, I think the international love, and it's merited, is because so many people don't know the quality of cinema that comes out of India, especially smaller films.
I think if it didn't have, I think since it had the push, like the buzz and the momentum
and the French behind it,
it should have been.
It should have
submission.
It should have been.
If it did not have that, and it was just a film that came out this year, and it didn't have the can, I'd be like, yeah, it can be in conversation, but I wouldn't actually have sent it.
Now we're getting into what we're selecting for the dummies.
It's the technicalities.
I agree with you. And it's going to Malayali interesting.
This was a great year for Indian cinema.
Great year for
specifically Tamil and Malayali, even though Hindi had a few
gems.
Bangers.
Yeah, had a few gems
in it. But predominantly it was Tamil and Malayali this year, with the exception of like Kill and Lapata Ladies.
And
we're not including 12th Fail, by the way, because that was
last year. But anyway,
spoilers. We'll get into some spoilers
now. If you haven't seen it, please see it,
and then come back and let us know your thoughts, Rick.
So
it'd be interesting to see if it gets pictured.
What I was saying and stopping with was, I think one of the reasons that the committee chose Lapata Ladies, because Lapata Ladies, again, I don't have a bone to pick with anybody who prefers that film, but I think there's a lot of the messaging that they don't want to have out there as commonplace in India. And it is commonplace in India, the messaging in this film. One of them being the very progressive behavior of, I forgot her name, the character name, that Divya plays, Anu. Her just going about, I'm going to be with this boy who's not only somebody that I wasn't, that it's not a thing my parents want or even chose. That's the first thing. He's also not of my faith. That's another thing. And I'm willing to do a lot of stuff that society looks down on. And then I'm actually willing to have premarital sex with the guy, and we're going to show that in a way that's a little bit more erotic than is typical for Indian cinema.
Oh, yeah.
I promise you, those criteria were things that they said, no, we're not selecting this film, which is a shame because that shouldn't be something that you exclude out of a Victorian era kind of decision to not allow the presentation of what really does transpire within people anywhere in the world.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows, obviously, what their decisions were.
Yeah, I'm sure it's multifaceted.
Possible. It's very possible. It was spoilers. During that scene when she was playing with his nipple, I thought it was a hairy mole.
Really?
I go really grossed out.
Why would she be playing with his mole?
I have no idea. That's why it was. I thought it was like a hairy mole on his back. And I was like, what are you doing? And why are we shooting this?
That's pretty.
And then I was like, that's
it's his nipple. For somebody obsessed with Shah Rukh Khan's chest, I'm surprised you didn't recognize a nipple.
You know how much hair is on that chest?
Yeah.
Absolutely zero.
Zero. That's what threw you off. You just saw the hair and got disgusted.
Bro.
Which I loved all of the relationships. I particularly loved the arc and the transformation that happens with Prabha. I really loved.
Yeah, she had a nice arc.
And I loved this, like you mentioned earlier, the messaging being so small.
Yeah.
Like that final scene where you see the transformation that's happened in her, particularly as it relates to Anu.
Yeah.
And just sitting on that shot and pulling away and letting the guy in the back do his little dance while the three ladies are sitting there. Moving forward changed, but not so changed that we didn't get this spoon-fed revelation. I loved that. The thing the thing that Indrani and I we were perplexed by and appreciated the bravery in the writing, but it stumped us to the point it took us out of the picture for a bit. Was what transpired with the guy she saved from drowning when she's talking to him and he becomes her husband. At first blush, it appears as if it's actually her husband. And we got confused, as did people in the theater with us. Did it confuse you, or did you know immediately it was just something that was going on as an imagination of hers?
Um,
Because it's not her husband that she saved.
No, it's not. It didn't confuse us, but I think they wanted you to be kind of confused.
Probably
for a
did,
second.
but it caused us such confusion that it pulled us away from the story for a minute because we stopped paying attention to what was being said and started going, okay, wait, is this her husband? Is it not her husband? I'm really confused. Is she having a flashback, or is this just she's imagining what it would have been like if it had been her husband? And then we realized that's what it was. And by that time, a full 2 minutes of the scene had passed.
No.
Yeah.
But I'm not an idiot.
Oh, well.
So
Okay.
that's probably the difference.
That's probably the difference. Yeah.
So, yeah. No, it didn't confuse No, it didn't confuse me. But yeah.
You knew immediately what was going on.
No, but it didn't. No, but it,
Well, if you didn't know what was going on immediately, how are you not confused?
why would that? There's movies that I don't know what's going on for the entire film.
And that's not a confusion?
But it doesn't. You're saying it was one of the knocks for you. I'm like, no, it's not a knock in the slightest. No.
Yeah. The lack of knowing what was going on to the point where it pulled me away from the moment rather than draw me into the moment. And it wasn't just me that experienced that.
No, I didn't. It didn't happen to me. Or my wife. And she's very smart.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of folks on both sides of the equation in that regard, and it has nothing to do with their intelligence level.
No, you're just an
No,
idiot.
because it happened to Indrani, and I don't think you'd call her an idiot, because if you would, we'd have an issue.
You were sitting
Second
next
of all,
you were sitting next to her though, right?
Yeah. And
So she's stupid because of your stupidity.
No.
You were rubbing off on
and there were other people in the theater we talked to afterwards who had the exact same issue.
Were you in the theater with them? It's the same issue. It's just Do you know what happens
It's by
to me when
osmosis.
Yeah.
It's by osmosis.
You know what happens to me when I get in this room?
Yeah.
I get stupider because I'm in proximity to you.
In prim prex?
See what's happening? Anyway, yeah. You guys go that stuff. That's what you had an issue with that one. No, that wasn't an issue for me. Stephanie pointed out though, she was like, for Connie's character. She was like, they like a scene of her either pooping or peeing in every movie. Brianni. You haven't seen Brianni. Because I had heard something. What did I hear about it? Like maybe I saw a comment. It's like, I feel like the peeing scene was unnecessary. I'm like,
No.
you didn't even see anything.
You know why you need the peeing scene, honestly, for this film?
Also,
It humanizes her.
yeah, but you didn't even see anything. So
Yeah.
what is even wrong with it?
That's also why it was not gratuitous to see Anu's breast when she was getting changed.
Wow.
That humanized her.
Destroying Indian culture.
Yeah,
Women don't have breasts.
those moments are humanizing and the normalizing of the body without having to make it always. I mean, wouldn't it be nice if people could just look at a naked body and it not be sexualized every single time?
It was actually a really brilliant shot. Actually, how it was done through the mirror.
Yeah, it was lovely.
It was only half.
You know what it reminded me of a little
very,
bit?
very beautiful.
It was not the same character reason, but you remember when Swastika had her moment in the mirror in Patalok, and wasn't it Patalok?
Yeah, I think. It was.
Yeah, and it was just such a vulnerable, beautiful moment for her to have. This had a similar, as did the going to the bathroom. I loved, and those aren't the only moments. There's so many things about this movie, and it's why I would watch it again with somebody just to get their impression, and I'd love to be with these characters again. Is if there's a word I would summarize the film in, it would be human. It's a very human story, and the thing that I loved the most was I went into it with the thought of all we imagine as light being luminescence. And I took away from it, it may have that too, but for me, it was all we imagine as light, meaning it no heaviness. And what would a life be like without all of this heaviness on me of what my family has put on me and society has put on me and my friends have put on me and my job has put on me and my being a woman has put on me and you all of these things. And what would my life be like if I didn't have those burdens, all we imagine as light? That for me is the message of the film and my favorite thing about the film.
I thought it was about sunlight.
Or I actually thought you thought it was going to be about light beer.
Ew. Unless it's like
That'd be a horror film.
Unless it's like a Dos Equis with
Yeah,
a
don't
little bit
drink
of salt and lime.
Don't drink like anything light, Bud Light, Coors Light.
The only light beers that are good are Mexican beers.
Well, they're not even light. They're a light amber.
Oh,
But like Coors is not a diet beer. When they say light, it's a diet beer.
Coors Light.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you're from the South, it's called Coors Light. Coors Light.
Coors Light.
Even though that's not how it's spelled at all. But they're all stupid down. You were down in the South, right? That's probably why they're dumb down there.
That's true.
Anyways, let us know what you thought about the movie as a whole. Let us know what you thought in terms of the Oscar submission. Do you think it has a chance to get anything, even outside of obviously the foreign category? Obviously, it got a Globe. I mean, it got a Globe nomination,
and she got director. Yeah. So is she going to get an Oscar nom?
That'd be exciting to see, though.
That would be extraordinary to see.
We would be heavily. Did any of the docs do well? Did India have some docs this year?
It did.
Did they make the short list at all?
I believe one has made the short list. Okay. Yes.
We need to check on that.
Yeah, we need to look into it.
Watch it. Because what was that one that won?
Last year?
No, it was a couple years ago.
Well, there were two that won last year. The one about the elephants.
No, it wasn't last year. That was 2 years ago. That was the year of RRR, so it was 2 years ago.
Oh, I don't remember them.
Water for Elephants or something like that, maybe?
That's the one I was 2 years. That's about elephants.
That was 2 years ago.
Right.
It wasn't last year.
Yeah, I don't remember the one from last year. Yeah.
No, I'm saying I was trying to remember the elephant one. Sorry.
That was 2 years ago.
I know. I'm trying to remember the title of it.
Water for Elephants.
Is that what it was called?
I don't know.
Okay. I think Water for Elephants is actually a book.
Yeah, it is. It has nothing to do with that.
Anyway.
Oh, Elephant Man. Great documentary.
Anyways.
It kind of is, actually.
Let us know down below.